Talk over drink.
Good evening, good evening. Welcome to another episode of Talks Over Drinks. My name is Corey Fauconnier, and as always, my partner, Markel Prines. Markel, how are you this evening, sir?
I'm doing awesome, brother. Another fun-filled day, exciting, doing that consistency thing on a regular basis. So I'm enjoying, um, just enjoying everything. We were just saying the holiday, 3-day holiday weekend, but it wasn't a holiday. It wasn't a time off, so I was still putting in that work.
I got you. Well, that's good. We was out here laboring too, because I appreciate that. Like I said, I've been staying consistent, working on myself, joining you for your lives in the morning or catching you on replay. So I'm kind of plotting some of the things that I want to do and some of the improvements that I want to make, especially marketing some of the things that I'm wanting to market and learning from a lot of the people that you've connected with. So I definitely appreciate you keeping me company in the morning during the rush hour. So
Absolutely. Yeah, today I try to keep it short for you. I said, hey, I ain't gonna keep people for an hour every day, but of course, definitely got to give the people the value. Usually I do 10 minutes. Well, my live supposed to be 10 minutes, but of course, that's for the people that only have 10 minutes, and I always like to go above and beyond. So I'm gonna give you guys my food for action right now, and we're gonna introduce the rest of the hosts. Um, Build before you broadcast. Structure first, then speed. That's how
mm,
hustle turns into legacy.
okay, I got you with that. Well, as always, it's good to see you. Good to talk to you. My brother of another color, Jeff Klebb, Keswick, Virginia. Jeff, how are you, sir?
Enjoying my vodka and cranberry juice. So,
Have a sip for me.
okay, I'll do that right now. Um, Hope you had a good Labor Day. My wife was ill today. She stayed home from work, so I took advantage of it and I waxed her car for her. So
Okay,
hopefully that'll make her feel better when she drives to work tomorrow in a clean, beautiful Camry.
okay,
So
all right.
food for thought. Um, I would refer to an old quote from my father, my late father. He said, when all is said and done, a hell of a lot more is said than done. And I'd like
All
to
right,
welcome our guest tonight.
all right, all right. And then last but not least, our libertarian brother over in Wellington, New Zealand, Joshua Huffman. Joshua, how are you this Wednesday afternoon?
Oh,
Good.
doing well. Wednesday's my day off, so it's nice not having to be run over to the university.
Okay.
Although I enjoy dealing with the students. So
Okay.
yeah.
Are you back to class now? Is everything back to normal?
Yes. Actually, they had sort of a winter break here that I thought was only 1 week, and it turned out to be two. Um, but yeah, that's over now, and we're going. I think until the beginning of November is the end of the semester. So
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Well, it's always good to see you. Good to see you. So I'm excited about today because today kind of reminds us about why we even started Talks Over Drinks in the first place. Our special guest this evening is Dave Crance. He is the Libertarian candidate for House of Delegates, District 13. Dave, how are you this evening, sir?
I'm doing well, gentlemen. I'm happy to finally be here. I'm glad we could finally pull this together. I'm excited.
Uh,
And I
all
get to
right.
look
Well,
at
we're happy to
Joshua here
have you.
around the world. I haven't seen him for several months now, so that kind of made my evening, brightened it up a little
That's
bit. But looking
that's
forward to
fine.
chatting with you, gentlemen.
Hey, so we'll jump right into it. So I'm glad that we finally got a chance to connect, like you said. So can you tell our viewers and your supporters a little bit about your background, how you became a libertarian, and a little bit about your campaign?
Yeah, I'll try and keep the short synopsis with it. Background, originally raised across the river over in Maryland with it. All the families over on the Virginia side. Joined the military at 18 to get off of a tobacco farm over there. And from there, Central America, back 88 to 90, drew just calls. I was a paratrooper all this time. I joined for the GI Bill. And in 1988, you didn't expect there to be such things as combat. We hadn't been anywhere since the Vietnam War in my 18-year-old mind. So I ended up down in Panama, got stuck with that, drew just calls, survived that, got to brag in 90, thinking I'm safe, 2 more years, I'll be out of here and in college. And then I did the entire first Gulf War. So I ended up with 2 combat tours, not even trying with it.
Right.
Got GI Bill after that and off to community college for a while. With community college, of course, GI Bill, for those who've been in the military, you know, we pay first and get reimbursed later. Couldn't find a job to save my life in 1992. I'm 22 years old, out of the military. So ended up working doors at clubs. Ended up working the door at a Holiday Inn club. Ended up as a bartender after that. And then within 3 years, bar manager, restaurant manager, food and beverage director, general manager. I had the whole hotel in 3 years flat by the time I was 26.
Wow.
And have just stayed with that field ever since. I'm one of those people who got very lucky. I fell into a line of work that I was even telling somebody this morning, I consider it a hobby when I get up in the morning. Currently, regional hospitality manager. I handle currently a portfolio of 16 properties, staggered out from Baltimore all the way down to Destin, Florida with it. Majority of my properties are right here on the DC Beltway with it. And currently reside over in Tysons, Falls Church, Fairfax, District 13. I've been here with one particular hotel that I've had the same office in since 1999
Okay.
and been through a couple ownership changes. It's been my current company for years now. Too long to even mention. Libertarianism. I discovered libertarianism, I would say probably around 09, 10. I think that's the first time I ever sent some money into the National Party. Didn't get involved locally with it until the Sarvis years, which really caught my attention for Virginia when we actually
Okay.
put candidates in all the congressional districts. I started looking, and of course, you know, the internet was coming a lot further along by that point with it. Looking things up, I found Libertarian Party in Northern Virginia, LP Nova. Most of y'all here probably, well, most of you, you know, Matt Chalco. So I think I met him that first year at the very first meeting with it, and I've been involved with LP Nova ever since. So
Wow.
with LP Nova, not taking on roles with it. I mean, I wasn't going to take on roles with it, but when I decided to run for office in 2023, the team, everybody over at LP Nova jumped on board and helped me out so much. We have 19 precincts in my district, and we had people at every precinct on election day. All
Good.
19. We had
Good.
booths. We had tables where we didn't have booths, and we had somebody standing if we didn't have the table or the booth. So shortly after the election, because we do our conventions in November up here, got nominated, and it was rather unanimous to become chair of LP Nova, which I did for a year. This past year, I tried to step back from that role because I had decided to run again. And I don't believe we should hold a party role while running for office. It almost makes it appear to me that we're using the party as a vehicle for the office, so to speak. And
That makes
I'm just
sense.
very big on that with all of my organizations, trying not to overlap. I did get stuck with vice chair of Fairfax with it because nobody else wanted to roll, and I think they were trying to force me to stay on in some capacity with it. And then we launched the election again this past January. Going back to elections, we're all aware of what happened here recently in Virginia with our party, with with everything that happened about 43 years ago now. And that's one of the things that made me really step up to run is, you know, you wake up, it's August, you wake up, you look, Libertarian Party of Virginia dissolved, as untruthful as that was. At that point, I had to get more involved than I had ever with the party because you're losing years worth of a lot of people's work. So
Yep.
I was very involved. Well, Josh knows I was very involved down to picking the site location, getting the hotels organized for that convention that we did to make sure we kept the party going with it. And actually, well, I don't want to overspeak. I think we've also set down our site for this year with the convention coming up. But that got me more involved with it. Looking around the Beltway up here, there's empty seats that, you know, it's inside the Beltway, it's straight Democratic ticket. A
Right.
lot of the seats aren't even
Yeah.
challenged every single year with it. So two things going on. Number one, I got sick of seeing hand-me-down seats with no competition. And two, I'm
Right.
looking at what's going on with the party, and I said, if we're going to be a political party, we want to make it clear that we are here, we are alive. Somebody's got to step up and run. So
Wow.
I actually launched that campaign, I don't call launched it. I started getting signatures like 4 weeks, maybe 3 or 4 weeks before the deadline. I had just
Okay.
that's when I literally started everything, like right there in May. And I actually got all my signatures. And I think that's when I met Josh in person, right? Josh was still getting his signatures. I'm like, well, mine are done. Let me drive down and help this guy out. So I drove all the way down to where he was to help his team get his signatures. And I think we all got on the ballot like day of, right, Josh?
I think it was a couple days before, but yeah,
Yeah,
it was pretty
really,
close.
really close with it. So it wasn't a planned campaign if I'm going to do all this. I literally had no idea how to even run a campaign. At the state level, a lot of our people weren't versed because we hadn't run a lot of campaigns with it. But I had some good people jump on. My campaign manager, Carrington Greenlee, a couple other people jumped in to help me with it. But, it took us all of July to even get a website up, to social media. We couldn't even get the access to Facebook and a lot of that because of the rules until almost September with it. It was a very last minute campaign, but we had the people get involved to focus on it. And with the precincts, I shocked myself. I was just praying to God I wouldn't be that 2%, 3% libertarian with it. But we broke 20% first time out with it. So
That's good.
that impressed me because I never really thought it would go that far. I mean, we ran a real campaign, but it was a last minute campaign. Not a lot of time for door knocking, had to get out mailers to swing voters, had to really target every little bit of things we did with it. But I will tell you this, Corey, because you've run before, it was the presence that really did it. Presence at early voting, presence at the precincts. I noticed with the early voting that we've only got 2 early voting sites within my district for early voting.
Okay.
Once it opens up to the libraries and stuff up here. So I man both of those every single weekend. And the response we were getting there was incredible to me. I just didn't, I was kind of nervous going into it, not being involved in campaign. People were happy to see something different. They were very happy to see
Right.
something different. And the numbers show it if you look back at the campaign. I think I was 1 in 21 for mail-in voters, and then it went down to like rough numbers, probably 1 in 12 at early voting in person. And we were 1 in 4 day of with having people at the precincts. So I still feel like outside of those that I know in the community, we really turned a lot of people at the precincts with it. And then the other thing is, having pulled 20%, I kind of felt obligated to run a real campaign and just look at it as one long 3-year run. So I'd already decided at the end of the last election that I owed it to do at least one more full-blown attempt at it because people donated, they put in their time, they put in their effort. I just feel obligated with it. I think we are in a much better position this time. We really started 3 years ago for this campaign, in my opinion, with it. We've gotten to the voters, those who vote, and the typical likely swing voters. We've gotten to them in the first campaign. The other thing about this election, we're talking 20,000 people voted. I got 4,000 some, my opponent got 16. 20,000 people voted. We have 55,000 registered voters in this district.
So let me ask you this, and that's a very good question, and I have a couple questions as you've been eloquently sharing your position and your experience. 55,000 voters in your district, 20,000 show up. Why do you think there's such a low turnout in such an important district as the House of Delegates is probably more important than voting for president?
I don't think it's voter apathy. I think they've given up. They haven't had choices. They have not had opportunities here. We are inside of what's considered a heavy blue area with it. And that's what I'm going to find out, good or bad, this election, because that's the numbers that we've taken our voter lists that we've received. We've sectioned out those 35,000 addresses, and that's where we're focusing. We're still going to look back at we're still going to do everything else we did with events and being out there. But I'm focusing material that basically is saying, I'm just trying to get them, hey, take a chance once and vote.
Right.
Take a chance, show up and vote, because we're letting, I think about it, 37% vote. 25% are making the decisions for all of us. 25%
Right.
of the people are telling all of us what to do. We don't even need 35,000 to show up. Why do we
Right.
need 12? not even half
Wow.
of that number. So, you know, it's against core logic. And my campaign manager, other people tell me, you got to focus on those, you can flip those. I believe those that voted for me last time are going to vote for me again. And that's not so much an ego thing. I mean, I coach softball here. I coached Little League for 10 years. I'm chaplain at my VFW. I'm involved with my Legion. I'm chair of my Chamber of Commerce. I love my community. And I've loved my
Right.
community for a decade. It's not
Right.
like, hey, I'm running for office. Let me go down to the PTA. I'm a member of my PTA. Let me go down to PTA and show my face now. You know, it's not, hey, I'm
Yeah.
running for office.
Yeah.
Let me show up now. I've been here. I've been invested in this community. That's another reason I'm running. And, you know, I believe the people that voted for me, they're going to vote for me again because they're voting for Dave. They're not voting for a political ideology, I don't believe.
Right.
Got to swing some voters, and I got to motivate the other voters. There is an opportunity here. If we can all just take a chance, show up one election, and let's see what happens. So that's kind of,
Wow.
that's the way I'm going with it. Wrong or right, I'm going to give it that try because I'm a libertarian anyway. Nobody expects anything. You know, so
I got you.
when you got
I
you get
got
a
you.
corner, doesn't matter. Just fight your way out of it. You know, you
Right.
don't lose for not trying.
Markel, you have a question for Dave?
Man, Dave is answering the questions before I even get the
Apologies, sir.
answer. That's all right, Dave. First and foremost, I'm listening to you from the beginning, and the first thing that struck me is your passion for your work, which you said, of course, that it doesn't feel like work. It's your passion. It's something that you started doing and you quickly advanced in that. So soon as you said that to me, that said a few things to me, that this is a person that has a passion for something, and if he puts his passion into it, he excels in it. And I often say with the politicians is, and with people in general, is usually the people that's most passionate about what they do, that those are the people that we really need in position to get things done, because they're usually going to do it from a standpoint of wanting to do it for the community and not do it for some type of ego driven thing or some political. So I'm looking at that, I'm listening, and I'm saying to myself, okay, you become a libertarian, and is this something that you're as passionate about as compared to your business or your work? Um, and how do you see your passion translating to working within a system with people that might not have the same passion for the end result that you have? You're more of a community-based type of person. I can hear it. And like you said, before you even said that those people that voted for you last time will vote for you again, I'm saying to myself, yeah, I can see those people voting for you again because they saw your passion, they see the person that you are, and then you added that you've done all these other things in the community. So that just solidifies the type of person you are. And I think about the people that you have to compete with, so to speak, and they usually, the other people don't have that type of passion, that type of background, that type of commitment to excellence. So how do you see yourself fitting in if you were to get in a position and having to deal with these type of people that have different agendas?
Number one, I'm in hospitality. I deal with people every day, and everybody walks away from me, no matter what I may have personally thought, is walking away smiling. I'll tell you that right now. No, the realistic aspect of it is if we have a very, well, as we all know, we have a very tight house down there. We're talking 2 to 3 people could ruin either side's majority with it. It's been that tight for a couple years with it. Watching polls, listening to people talk, I think it's going to be just as tight this time around, where it's going to be another 49-51, something like that with it. There are other candidates running in Fairfax. You got Shelley Arnaudy, who's an independent running. She's a Republican running based on her frustration with her party. I'll give her that. But she's dedicated. You get to talk, you hear her talk. She's a firebrand out there. We've got Brandon Graves, who's a forward party. He comes out of the education field like Joshua does with it. I've talked to him also. We've got people running. In fact, I'm hoping all 3 of us are going to be there for early voting on the 19th as a united front to say there are options here. You know, even though we're from different parties, different backgrounds, we're here to bring real change about. If people will just give it a chance, we can change things. But coming back to what you're saying, if there's a 49-50 split down there and there's one or two people, it's not a matter who we're going to caucus with, who's going to caucus with us to get our vote. And that's the stuff that could make really national headlines for third parties everywhere. So yes, as a libertarian, I am passionate, but I'm more passionate about my community than I am about my party. I'm a libertarian because it fits my ideals. It is who I am. I'm not a libertarian because I think everybody in the world needs to be a libertarian. And that's probably why, except when asked to, I don't really get involved in the party politics of it. I'm not looking for positions within the party. You're actually never going to see me run for a position in the party, except again, my local level, because I work with them, they work with me. But outside of that, that's not a goal of mine at all. My goal is to go represent Falls Church and Fairfax and Richmond, to represent my neighbors and everybody here. And I do believe that the good thing is there's always give and take. You know, whether I'm going to get to put 12 things out there, and are they going to take those 12 bills that I throw out, and are they going to kill them in committee, shove them here? The goal is to get in there, see if there is give and take based on how everything falls with who's got majority. And then at that point, let the people know. Call out every vote. Come back to my community. I put this in, it got tabled in committee. I put this in, they did this. I want to come back and report to my constituents, and I think that would matter. So that would be really my focus on it. Not so much what can I accomplish outnumbered in a legislative standpoint, as how can I enlighten people as to what we can do for our community if we just step up and say enough.
Well said, sir. I
Didn't mean to rush
definitely
you. Sorry.
appreciate that answer. Yeah, that's definitely,
Yeah.
I love that answer. It definitely speaks to, you know, what I believe people need to hear. A lot of times I hear a lot of politicians, they speak with a lot of passion for what they believe that they're going to do. They're going to go in and make change. And a lot of times they're not able to do that. And it's refreshing to hear someone say what you just said, that it's not necessarily about actually getting people to approve of everything you do, but shedding the light on it. If you add your
Right.
perspective and you say, hey, this is what our people want, and we present it, and you say no, then now I can tell my people, hey, look at these are the people that don't want what you want. So it sheds light on the people that are really for you and who's really not. So that's a great perspective.
And I think not only that, if
Wow.
let's admit it takes a miracle here, but I am dedicated to trying to pull this off. We're going to put everything we have into this. But if we do pull it off, how much hope does that give people countrywide going into national elections next year? How many people would that motivate to say, look, this hotel guy did it, I can do it? You know, and that's the first thing I'm going to say if I were to win. I did it. Every one of you out here can
Yeah.
do it. Plan to
You
step
got to
up,
get
get
into
involved in
it.
your
You got it.
community,
Yup.
get involved in
Absolutely.
politics, and let's take our state back. Take our
Absolutely.
country back.
Absolutely. Jeff, you have a question?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. Your name is Dave Crance. I went to college with a guy named Dave Crance, but it was Krantz. But that was 40 years ago, though. But anyway, I looked at your website. I found it interesting. You had said you believe in getting rid of the personal property tax on cars in Virginia. And that's something they've been trying to do forever. But you had mentioned about the income tax. You wanted higher income people to be in a higher bracket. And I'm not saying this
Jeff, may I interrupt?
Yeah, go ahead.
I would never increase taxes on anybody. What I'm looking for is, we have currently the higher bracket kicks in at 18,000 a year. So if you're a young person in Virginia making 21, 24,000, especially if you're in Northern Virginia, out in Hampton Roads, Richmond, you're struggling on that. That is not enough to get by. But you're paying the same tax percentage as somebody that's making 250,000, 2.5 million. I would not increase anybody's taxes, but I would move that starting point up to at least 36 or 38,000, so people have a chance to get started with what they're making. I just want to be clear on that.
A flat rate with a certain exemption?
What's a flat rate now? for all intents and
Right.
purposes. Until
But
the
you would
exemption
exempt a
kicks in.
certain amount. Okay.
Up until
And
36 at least. 36 is kind of in my mind at least. I get in office.
okay.
Some of these things, I know what I want to do. Drilling down to specifics, that would mean reaching out to the community, the organizations. We have Fairfax County Taxpayers Alliance. We have a great organization up here that is really invested in fighting tax increases, and they fought the meals tax, they fought the occupancy tax this year. I mean, they were turning out 100 people at our county council meetings. I was very proud of them. I'm in touch with all those individuals. So drilling it down would come back to reaching out to the members of my community and the organizations to say, here's your piece. I want you to work on this. This is the goal I have, 36,000. Where should it be? Should it be 45? What do we have to do with exemptions? I know what we got to cut. We can look at where we can cut the waste in our budget. There is enough to cut the waste out. I mean, we could go on that list all day long. We can look
Definitely.
at what, 5 billion 2 years ago, 1.7 billion, I believe, last year, if I'm checking numbers. I think we're on our way to a 2.5 billion budget surplus this year.
Thanks
We're
for
making more
clarifying
money
that.
off of taxing people into the ground than they can even spend in Richmond. It's
Well,
just,
you mentioned meals
we
tax.
need to stop and step back. Sorry, Jeff, I didn't mean to interrupt.
If you go up to Gordonsville, which is in the bottom of Orange County, and you go out for a restaurant meal, they have the state sales tax, they have a county tax for Orange County, and they also have a town tax for Gordonsville. It ends up being like 12 or 13% on a restaurant meal. And to me, that started back in I think it was in the 90s or the early 2000s when the General Assembly let Richmond do it. And as soon as Richmond did it, Henrico and Chesterfield were like, oh, we're not going to do that at all. And then
2020, they gave them permission, the General Assembly during
is it
COVID,
that recently?
that they
Okay.
gave the local municipalities permission to impose these meal taxes. It
Well,
was nothing
Richmond
recently.
started it.
Fairfax
Richmond did it in the
County,
90s.
it had been going around, but for the local municipalities and counties to impose their own.
Oh, the
So
cities
Fairfax
did it in the
County had been
90s.
trying
Okay.
to impose a meals tax. They've had it on the ballot at least 2 different times, massively voted down. And then because of this change they recently made, now the counties can implement their own meals tax. And the first thing they did once they got back in the session, in a year, of course, this year, we are not electing board of supervisors in Fairfax County. So that's why they shoved down the meals tax, shoved down the occupancy tax, so they can hopefully grab as much money as they can instead of going back and looking at their budget and adjusting what needs to be adjusted there. They grab as much money as they can off of us. That's, if you look at the thing, you'll see, I really like what Colorado did with its taxpayer bill of rights. And that's probably the primary thing that I want to implement. One of the things outside of the higher bracket thing, when you're talking to libertarians about a lot of different issues, because when I mention raising the lower bracket, immediately everybody's, oh, so you want to increase the high end? No, I don't want to increase anybody's taxes. I'm not going to let anybody increase anybody's taxes. But we can help our most needful people. We can help them get a leg up if we can look at ways that's going to improve it for them to have a chance to catch up to the middle. But I think we need to stop all new taxes. And that's where I agree with Colorado's, the way they did it with the amendment to their constitution. You cannot raise a tax. You can, no municipality, no county or state can raise a tax in Colorado without putting it on the ballot. The voters make the decision. I believe in Virginia, in all of our municipalities, they are getting more than they need from tax revenue because they do not feel a need to cut into the budgets and do the right things. And
I'm going
that's
to
why
ask
I
you.
think we need to stop allowing politicians to increase our taxes and put every tax that comes up on the ballot.
3 quick questions, and then I'll let somebody else chime in. I'm sure Josh is chomping at the bit, but I've got 3 quick questions. Number one, do you favor getting rid of the state liquor monopoly and privatizing it? Number two, who is running against you, who's actually on the ballot? And number 3, what is your stance on the Second Amendment? And that's all I have for tonight.
I would love to see our ABC stores and our liquor side of it, the brick and mortar and everything tied into it, privatized. I would love to see that. I will not be working on that. There are far too many other cuts that need to be made first that we need to look at. The revenue stream from that currently can offset. You know, I talk about safety nets, Jeff. We've created so much dependence on government. And we have individuals who have needs that the government needs to fulfill. But on top of that, the government has created even more individuals with needs. And we yank things out, people are going to get hurt. And that's the problem when I talk to a lot of my own libertarian friends. We need to shut government. We need to doge this. No, we need to think about slow, steady cuts in the right direction, what we can achieve now, what we can achieve in a year, in 5 years, in 20 years, and we need to plan accordingly. So yes, I want it privatized. If I didn't believe in term limits, I would tell you I'd be fighting for that in my 8th term, maybe, 2-year term. But it will not be something I would get to into the next 2 years because there's so much else to try and do. And I do think there will be an impact if you do have a third-party candidate shining a light. I like the way Corey said that, or Marcel, shining a light on things. I do think there will be that impact. One of the things I was very adamant about last time was military pensions. And I brought that up in a number of different ways. And I even brought it up to our state Senate candidate, who's a Democrat, who won, but we're very friendly, a lot of different people. But I'll tell you right now, they finally moved and stopped they gave a percentage, 30,000, the first 30,000 won't be taxed. Things can move if people get in a position to bring the issue up. When I mention taxpayer bill of rights, everybody's like, why don't we have that? I mean, the first question, why don't we have that? Because nobody's speaking or thinking about these things and putting it out to people. You got to create the thoughts. I believe the second question was
who's running
an
against
amendment,
you?
and then who I'm running against. Was that
who's running against you?
I'm running against the incumbent gentleman by the name of Simon, who has been in that role, I believe, 14 years. He's multiple term there. Same person I ran against last time. Last time we did not have a Republican candidate. We haven't had a Republican candidate 2 of the last 3 elections.
They don't have any in Fairfax County.
Well, they put one in this time. Nobody's I don't know her, so nothing negative. Nobody's ever heard of her. She hasn't raised anything. I think it's just a line. I think they're running the line item spoiler now. I honestly really do. I think getting 20% might have been a mistake because I feel like, we got to put some money in that district. Reality is I'm very happy over that because it allows me to paint exactly what I'm doing. Nobody can accuse me of being this or that. I love that aspect of it. The bad part is there's been 2 debate opportunities that got closed down because of no empty chairs. So a lot of organizations have moved to a no empty chair policy, which means they won't have only 1 candidate or 2 candidates on a stage or in a Zoom if they don't have all the candidates for the race participating. So because the Republican candidate is refusing to participate, at least in these initial ones, it takes away my opportunity to get further out into the public, to face the voters, which I want to do. So, when I look at reporting, when I look at what's going on, it just looks like a line item candidate there, maybe for state fundraising purposes, and really just a tank. Because I look at it like a crab. We could, here in Chesapeake and up here, we have that crab pot mentality. And that crab pot mentality is when you put the crabs in and start boiling it, the ones on the bottom will keep dragging down the crabs on the top trying to get out. So they effectively cook themselves. And to me, that's what the Republican Party's doing in Virginia right now. It's just crab. We can't get it, but nobody else is going to get it. I think that's really where we're at with it, in my opinion. Second Amendment. I am a weapons owner. I served in the military. I have been in I've had to dive into people's homes where I'm the only armed person diving in their home and look at fathers' faces. I'm going to tell you something. I believe in the right to keep and bear arms. I believe in the right of everybody to protect them. I don't ever want to be, and again, have an American soldier, paratrooper dive through your front door. I don't think we're going to see that kind of stuff in opposite, but I don't ever want to be that father because I know what, I'll tell you, in Panama City, I got there in 88. It was heaven on earth. Elections happened in 89. And by December 90, I was downtown when that city burnt to the ground with the fighting down there. It was horrible. And again, I don't ever want to see myself or my children in a position where they aren't able to defend themselves. We do not know what tomorrow is going to bring. And I've seen how quickly, maybe you can call it a third world country. I've seen how quickly a country can go from here into total chaos. And I am not one of those people that don't think the same thing couldn't happen here eventually, and at least in a city. You just don't know what's going to spark it at some point. That said,
When
I
you
think, go ahead.
mentioned Panama City, just make sure you're not talking about Panama City, Florida.
No, Panama, just cause Noriega, all that. Thanks for clarifying there. Um, look, the battalion I was with down there, we lost 2 guys and had over 20 some wounded just in 24 hours. That was one of those ones that slid under the radar screen. If I mention the Gulf, hey, I started in the Gulf paratroop 82nd, everybody's, oh yeah, oh, mention Panama, people are like, Panama City, Florida, just what you did, especially younger people, because it was slid under the radar with it. But coming back around, I think Virginia already has more than enough gun laws. I honestly, again, looking at where my priorities are, I will fight any new legislation to disarm us or further disarm us. I probably won't attack that side of things because I don't see a need unless they start expanding on these red flag laws that they recently brought in 4 years ago and some of the other stuff. I am aware, I'll be watching. I'm going to defend where we're at, but I'm not going to try and really start repealing things on that side because I think this first session is really trying to get the tax side of it taken care of, the stuff my community needs. You look at my site. My site is based on what my community wants and needs, really. And to some extent, we got to remember that. The problem we have out there, we look at my opponents, look at all of them. We got blue and red rubber stamps. If they get in office, it's going to be a national political party rubber stamp. And you can look at what everybody's doing. They vote blue 100%. I'm sure down south, Joshua, you probably see it on that end where it's 100% red, straight down party lines with it. We're not there to represent. I'm not there to represent the Libertarian Party. And if I was a Democrat Republican, I wouldn't see my job to represent their party. My job is to represent the people of Falls Church in Fairfax County, Virginia, first and foremost. My second job is to think about all Virginians and watch any legislation that would impact all while keeping my people in my neighborhood at heart. And that's where you got to work with people and trade it off.
Your
I don't
situation up
know if the
there is
guy in
obviously
Staunton.
different.
Do what?
Your situation up there is obviously different than us way out here in the sticks. I'm outside of Charlottesville, out in the boondocks. You probably have more people on your block than I have in my whole county of 511 square miles.
Probably.
We have like 37,000 people for 511 square miles. You probably have 30,000 people in 2 square
Well, I have
blocks.
my district
It's
is
totally
not that
different.
large if you look at it. And I just mentioned we have 55,000 voters. Those are only the people registered to vote.
Yeah, I'm talking our whole population.
And
And
for
everybody
me,
out here has guns. It's different than up there.
that's
You
true.
know,
There's a factor there with it, having grown up in a rural community
it's like a
too.
whole different state.
Yeah.
I could put on, I don't do it, but I could open carry at a gas station or a drugstore. Nobody would bat an eye. If I did that up there, the
Oh
cops
yeah.
would come rolling in on me in no time.
Yeah.
It's just a different part of the state.
Well, and that's what we've got to remember with it. That's where I was going with it with Josh when I was talking about the different areas. What we need up here and what my neighbors want versus what somebody I was going to say in Staunton. But you work too.
I'm a little
I,
bit east of where Josh is from.
I got our people
He's
are out of
another
Lynchburg.
he's another half hour, 45 minutes down 64.
All my people are originally out of Lynchburg. That's where all my aunts and uncles live now. We're
That's
down.
right south of me.
I know
Yes.
exactly where you're at. Where that? Yeah, we're actually going to do the convention. I believe I'm going to try and get all that set up for the Libertarian convention over in Waynesboro this year. So I can actually, so it'll be more central to that part of it. But yeah, no, all my people are in Lynchburg. I know that area very well. From here all the way down 29 or 20, anywhere you go, I know those areas down there with
I'm
it.
south of Gordonsville.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and
Yeah.
we covered everything, right?
What's that?
We covered
Yeah.
all three for you, correct?
Am I what?
We covered all three questions for you, correct?
Yes, you did. I appreciate
I
that,
got to
sir. I
talking
really
too
do.
much, and sometimes I forget.
Nah, you
I
good,
do
man.
too.
Listen, you covering it all. Josh, you have any questions for Dave, sir?
Oh,
Well,
well,
here it comes.
yeah, number one, I must say, you must have enjoyed your run 2 years ago more than I did mine, considering you're jumping to do it again.
Well, the
Yeah,
family
yeah.
wasn't really on the whole jumping to do it again. And on my end, it's more of an obligation if that many people vote for you. I believe at that point
Okay.
it is an obligation. If I go out this time and lose, I can say I did my darnest. We ran for 2 whole cycles and everything. But, I was surprised how many people voted for me.
Well, and I think that's a good point. I remember a number of years ago, back when I was still involved with the Republican Party, I sat down with then Speaker of the House of Delegates, well, actually, I guess former Speaker of the House of Delegates, Vance Wilkins. And, he mentioned, I think he said he had to run for House of Delegates, it's either 4 or 5 times before he actually got
Josh,
elected.
give me 1 second here, okay? Forgot one thing.
Okay. So, yeah.
Hey, Josh, do you know where Mount Crawford is? Mount
Yes,
Crawford?
absolutely. It's in Rockingham County. It's very close to Bridgewater, Virginia.
Okay, that's where they put the new Buc-ee's.
That's where the Buc.
Hey, I'm sorry, brother.
Yes, yes.
I got chicken in the oven. I talked my wife into doing the softball thing with my daughter this evening. So you were talking
yes,
about
yes,
when you were involved with the Republicans.
Yes, yes. But yeah, as mentioned, I spoke with Vance Wilkins, who was the Speaker of the House of Delegates, and he said he had to run for office. I think it was 4 or 5 times before he actually got elected.
Oh, wow.
So which of course, my goodness, that's quite a lot of commitment to keep doing that. But so again, I applaud you for making another go at it. I mean, of course, as I ran for the Virginia Senate, which isn't up for election this year. But actually, this may sound odd, but while during the first part of our discussion here, actually went through the Wikipedia article for the 2025 Virginia House of Delegates election, and I noticed that, and this is an issue I've run into with Wikipedia, is that of course they have sort of a section where they list the candidates and they'll put in the percentage of the vote they get and all that sort of thing. And I noticed that you weren't listed there, so I've gone ahead and adjusted that.
Oh, well, thank
and
you.
actually, I actually did it for every third party or minor party and independent candidate who's running in Virginia this year. There are about half a dozen of them, which I think is great. I mean, and it's a frustrating aspect because I've run into this on Wikipedia, especially concerning Robert Sarvis and his run for governor and senator, is that some people think, well, you shouldn't really talk about him because he didn't win. And it's like, well, I mean, there are plenty of Republicans and Democrats who don't win either. I think everybody should have as much information about their choices as possible. And I'd say the same for your Democratic and Republican opponents, because that's the problem is we often suffer from a lack of information. We think, oh, well, of course, I know in your race the Democratic candidate is projected to win, but that doesn't mean people shouldn't learn about you and what you stand for. And again, if they think you're the best candidate, they absolutely should cast a ballot for you.
Well, and I hope he takes that $250,000 war chest for House of Delegates and keeps investing his time out in Loudoun County and other counties for his party. And that's the good thing about it. So I'm fine with that. Let him be so confident he's out there, because that's really what it comes down to. They don't need a lot of these, and I'm not speaking ill just of, I like my opponent. I know him personally. I've called him to come speak at events for my VFW, Little League stuff we've met. If I ask him to do something, he does it. He's a good guy. But reality is, you see these people, and all they are there for is for their party. And even during campaign season, they're taking the safe districts, and the Republicans do it too. You take the safe districts with it, you funnel the money there to use it in other means for other candidates in more of the challenging districts, and you put those candidates of yourself down there and invest there. A lot of them don't even invest in their communities anymore, because the focus is flipping this seat in this district in this county. We got to flip that one as a team effort, and that's the frustrating thing about it. They're not there for their communities, they're there for their party.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, they absolutely are there for the party. And I appreciate what you say, about the Libertarian Party. I mean, yeah, no, when I ran for office as well, I mean, it wasn't, oh, well, I think the most important thing is to get a libertarian in that seat, is that I think there are people in our community who are not being represented by a current legislator. And, so I can certainly appreciate what you're saying there. And,
Well, I'll go one
know,
step further. I will
okay,
tell you, in a blue community or a heavy red community, those constituents aren't being represented by their legislator either. It's not a matter of third party or independent people. Even your
sure.
own constituents aren't being represented. They're not there for them. But,
Hmm.
sadly, we're in a world, and this is what I'm trying to change up here, but we're in a world where, people, they show up, they go to that polling place, they get handed their suggested ballot, and I don't mean negatively towards people, but it's like a fifth grader getting a test, and they go in and they circle all the right circles. They finish voting. They run back out to that booth and they get their little sticker, just like a fifth grader. Look, teacher, what I did everything right. I mean, they're not even looking at the candidates. And I'm not being negative. People have got to stop and look at, even if you are Republican or Democrat or Libertarian or Green, is your candidate representing you? And a lot of times they simply aren't. It's just a matter of going with the flow. And that's one of the things that just worries me. And at the same time, this messaging, like you said, Fairfax County, nobody can win but a Democrat in Fairfax County. Well, there's 35,000 voters out there who haven't taken a chance at it. And if we could get them to take a chance, maybe that's not the case. They're not on the voter list. Nobody knows who they're going to vote for because they haven't voted the last election. There's no tracking on these individuals, but by short, they're almost 2/3 majority. And I think
Well,
we would find that in most every district we look at near the Beltway. And I think we'd find the opposite down south.
Yeah.
I'm
I
gonna
find it interesting that here in Wellington, New Zealand, we have elections for mayor and city council. And unlike in the United States, there are actually 12 candidates on the ballot for mayor, and the
wow.
various council seats, there are 46 candidates. And that's what it should be. That's what we should have in the United States.
Well,
It's, especially
one step
looking
further, how
through
good Libertarians did in New South Wales a couple of years back. Now, the Libertarian
Absolutely.
Party might lean a little more liberal down there, but they really made huge gains.
But
Josh, when is your election?
I mean,
when is your election time?
it's sometime in October. I don't know the exact. Let's see. Yeah, let's see. The election day is October 11th.
Okay.
And now I can't vote here. I mean, New Zealand's sort of a weird country in that non-citizens can actually vote in their elections provided they have residency, which actually I can get by the general election next year, which we talked about, I think, in our last show.
Correct.
But yeah. So actually, and it's funny. I actually got a phone call from a member, from someone running for city council, asking if I would volunteer for the campaign. And it's like, well, wait, I can't even vote in this election.
Wow.
But I found, because there's a political party here called ACT, which is called the Alliance of Taxpayers and Consumers, and
that
they
sounds
are
like my people.
Well, I think they're the most libertarian of the major parties here in New Zealand. But lately they've gotten a bit more bogged down in social issues than would be my preference. But yeah, I mean, they talk about low taxes, getting rid of unnecessary government red tape, that sort of thing, which is good, absolutely. But I'm interested. This is actually the first time, actually, in Wellington history that the ACT Party has ran candidates for council, and it'll be interesting to see how they fare. I don't know. I don't have a big enough handle on this sort of thing to predict how it's going to go. But anyway, yeah, I just want to say, I, as I've said in the past, I certainly appreciate. I don't know if I would have made the ballot if I didn't have your help, Mr. Crance. So I certainly do appreciate that.
That was a fun weekend, sir.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah, and I certainly wish you well.
I am a signature getter, as Chase's campaign proved in Virginia. I can get some signatures. You turn me loose on the street, I'm gonna talk to you.
Wow.
I do. It's unfortunate the year opponent this year seems to be very similar to my Republican opponent 2 years ago, in that that person just wouldn't be involved in any sort of debate or anything like that. Now, fortunately, they ended up having the debates anyway without him. But yeah.
Well, that's the weird part because, again, I do have a decent campaign team that helps me out. God bless them. And they're volunteers, not paid. God bless them. But the going belief is, if you're a huge underdog, as a Republican would be here, you're the one that should be trying to force debates. You're the one that should be trying to get the info out. And basically, I've just got an opponent who's just helping the other party by making sure nobody gets a chance. So I don't get it, but it is what it is. It is what it is.
Wow. Well, Dave, let me ask you, can you provide your contact information, website, and social media handles for folks that want to support you or get more information about your campaign?
Absolutely. DaveForVirginia.com. So I'll start right there with it. So if you look at it, my name, Dave Crance on Twitter, Dave Crance on Facebook, Dave Crance for Delegate, or my personal page, Dave Crance, will always leave you around. And then DaveForVA.com. Just think Dave for Virginia with the number 4, DaveForVA.com. That will get you over to me, and from there you'll have everything down to my cell phone number.
Hey, Dave, I've got a really good campaign slogan for you. How about take a chance with Dave Crance?
You know what? You're like the 15th person that's told me that. I think that's because I have a bad habit of using the word chance. I think it's going to get in. I think I'm going to use that. The more and more I think about it every time somebody says it. And I mean, what am I saying anyway? I am saying that. Take a chance. Now, my campaign manager will hit me back with, well, it sounds like you're asking people to take a wild chance. But you know what? That's what I am doing. Let's take a chance. Let's turn this thing around. Let's take back our community and our government. Take a chance with Dave Crance. I like that, Jeff.
I'm with it. Well, I'm happy that we got a chance to chat with you, Dave. We will definitely stay in touch, and we'll be rooting and checking you out for the election. And like I said, I appreciate your community involvement, because I think that goes a long way. So we definitely appreciate you coming on. Again, my name is Corey Folkinier. As always, my partner, Markel Prines, my brother of another color, Jeff Klepp, and my Libertarian brother over in Wellington, New Zealand, Josh Huffman. And our special guest today, Dave Crance, Virginia House of Delegates, Libertarian candidate for House of Delegates 13th District. We are Talks Over Drinks, folks. So remember, it's never too early or too late, regardless of time zone or country, for Talks Over Drinks. Cheers.
All right, let's talk over drink.